Hey there, welcome to Board Game Barrister, our local game shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Andy, and I'm here with Gordon, Elizabeth, Ian, Glenn, and Jade, and today we're talking Too Much Info, a party game about getting a clue that you have to give information to the rest of the table about, but if you give too much or too little, you gotta wear the hat. Let's get into it. Welcome to Too Much Info, a clue-giving party game where you're gonna try to say just enough about your clue to try to get some people to guess it, but not everybody. All you gotta do to get started is grab this deck of cards out of the box and choose a first player. That first player is gonna get us started by drawing a card, looking at the other side that nobody's seen, and then choosing one of these clues that they want to work with for the round. So let's go with croissant for this example. As the clue giver, you're going to get the round started by coming up with something you want to say about your clue that will help the other players around the table begin to make a guess as to what you're talking about. So my starting clue might be, this is a pastry that you may sometimes find a chocolate version of. Now ideally, everybody around the table has different ideas as to whether this might be a donut. Some of them might be thinking croissant, which would be great, and all sorts of other pastries that get chocolate involved. There's a bunch, right? Now that I've given my clue, we open things up to the table, and everybody around the table can begin to ask me clarifying questions about the answer. If somebody asked me something like, is this commonly found in a grocery store? Then I'd say yeah. And certainly if somebody gets way more specific and asks me, is this a pastry that often comes in the shape of a crescent? I'm allowed for any question that's asked of me to choose not to answer. Because as all of this question and answering is going on, everybody is going to be writing down their answers as soon as they feel they have one on their pads here. Once you write an answer down, you're no longer allowed to take part in the discussion. So you're locked in. Finally, when everybody has chosen an answer and written it down on their pad, we're all going to announce what we wrote, and every guesser who guessed the correct answer is going to get 2 points tokens, while our clue giver is going to refer to our scoring card for this game. This is based on the number of players you have at the table, and it'll tell you how many points you get based on how many people correctly guess your answer. So you can see here that getting nobody to guess your answer is no good. You're going to get 0 points for that. But you can always say too much, and when you say too much such that everybody at the table has correctly guessed your clue, you go right back down to 0 points. And anytime you score 0 points, you also gotta wear the hat. That hat is yours until somebody else says too little or too much, at which point you give them the hat. You'll play enough rounds so that everybody gets to be the clue giver either 1 or 2 times each, depending on how many players you have and how long you want to play. At the end of all those rounds, we're going to score up our points tokens and see who's our final winner. One of the first things that really sticks out about this game is the unusual lack of structure put into it. You get handed a card, you pick a clue off of there that you think you can talk about and have fun giving information out to the table about, and then everybody around the table just kind of starts going and asking you stuff, and you pick which questions to answer because you think they will help some people guess, but not everybody guess. But you want to make sure some of those people at the table guess it.
This is an actress who is in Stranger Things.
Yeah. Interesting.
Or were they a kid when it aired?
No.
Do you...
Got it.
Is she also known to be strange and unusual?
Let's put the word quirky out there.
Yep, easy. We got 2 at least. Oh, 3. Stop answering questions.
I'm not going to answer any questions. Also, I don't know if I know anything else.
Right,
I was like, oh, this is really
Yeah, I really like the nuance of the table talk in this one. Like the banter and the other people playing off of each other is the most enjoyable part of games for me. And I think this one was really interesting because every time somebody asked something, it helped other people click in their head and narrow it down to then ask other questions. And the nuance is figuring out how to ask your question in a way that A, the clue giver doesn't have to lie to you, and B, the clue giver doesn't give it away to the whole table. So I think that's the real fun of it, is figuring out how to get them to answer correctly. And then as the clue giver, you've got to figure out how to tell them stuff without just like giving it out there and just saying, yep, I lose all my points for the turn. And I think the balance between the guessers and the giver is what makes the game really interesting, and trying to play off of other people's guesses was really enjoyable.
She is a dame.
Is that all you're gonna say?
Is she alive? Well, like
Is
I'm
she
gonna
also
remember.
a cat?
Wow.
I don't believe she physically is a cat.
Has
Never gonna
she
get it.
ever been represented in media by a single letter?
Yes.
what?
Okay. Judi Dench.
Judi Dench.
She did.
I don't even know who that is.
Not Maggie Smith.
One thing that's really notable is a lot of games, you're like, oh, that one person's always a really bad clue giver. Well, this gives you the chance for the audience to set that person straight and be like, what did you mean by that? Which I really, really liked So anything where your clue was awful from the start or had some inside knowledge, the table could then get clarification. And I really think that's cool because a lot of times my family will steer away from a game because that person's going to be there, and in here that wouldn't have to be the case.
Hey folks, sorry to interrupt. This is just a 15-second reminder that we're a small team of board game lovers running an actual board game shop here in Wisconsin. If you like what we do, you can support us directly by shopping with us online or by stopping in the next time you're in our area. Thank you. All right, back to your video.
The Dalai Lama.
Oh God.
If you want to be like the Dalai Lama, you should consume more of this vegetable.
Is this wordplay?
Peas?
I
Indeed.
have written peas.
Wow.
Because like the Dalai Lama, you would want to find your inner peas.
Just for everyone out there, don't play clue giving games with Gordon ever. We all know this happens.
Unless you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I like the opportunities to be able to think laterally and help and be kind of really creative either in the clues that you're giving or the questions that you're asking. It did not play to my advantage in this game, but I enjoy being able to work that part of my brain anyway. And every now and then I'll have someone who gets that, and then you can feel good of, aha, yep, you picked up what I was putting down.
Yeah, I still don't know what to think about the fact that I was the one who picked up everything you were putting down. So
Well, the bright
slightly
side about the
concerning.
lateral thinking is that then you get, like Jade said, the clarifying questions of clue givers to enhance whatever they started with without giving it away. And I think that's the nuance of the game and the fun of it, is figuring out how to answer stuff in a way that works for the table.
Yeah, like if you want to be the master of your own destiny, this is not the type of the game where the rulebook tells you exactly what you can and cannot say. The rulebook tells you when to say it. Like, you're kind of in control of your own destiny here, and you kind of have to take that gumption. It's a round food.
Apple.
Yeah.
No.
Is it an
fruit?
apple?
Is it fruit?
Is it spherical?
Oh, yeah.
So, it is not a fruit,
Okay.
and it is not spherical.
Is
So
it
it's a
naturally round or made round by the people preparing it?
It is made round by the people preparing it.
Does it have toppings?
It frequently, usually, is topped, yes.
Does it require flipping?
I think I'm done answering questions.
So we did run into a situation where on some of the clues, we were getting too much out of the people who were giving the clues in kind of we have infinite questions for you and you're not sure when to stop and back off and stop giving the answers to these. That's kind of the point of the game. You want to grill that person and you want to get the answer out of them and make them wear a hat, but we liked a couple of interesting house rules we tried, and you can try this out and see if it works better for your group as well, just to like kind of clean up the psychological ways we were going about asking those questions. The first is first person to write the correct answer gets a bonus point. So that was our first thing we want to add in, is this kind of like timer on, we can't just ask infinite questions. We have to ask really good questions and then try to be the person who wrote it first. And then following that first person writing their answer down, everybody else only gets one more question. So now your questions matter a ton, and it's also really interesting for the clue giver because they know they get an automatic stopping point once everybody's asked that question, so they can choose just how much of that information to mete out in the right amount of time. I think it'll be really interesting. Try it with your group. We also loved it without any of this extra stuff, so jump in and do it whatever works for your group. All right, if you like silly clue-giving games, but you want to do it on a timer with someone ringing a bell in your face every time you say the word then you should also check out our video on You Can't Say That game is hilarious, and it's going to be kind of like this, but at a totally different, fast-paced speed. For the time being, you can hit that like button, leave a comment if you got one. We love reading those. Subscribe if you want to see our new videos every week when we post them, and check out our online store where you can find too much info right about now. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next time.